Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We have a good one for you. Today, Democrats have largely dodged California lockouts in the primaries. We'll take a look at what else is going on in the primaries as well. And we'll take a look at how a ragtag group of socialist filmmakers produced one of the most viral campaigns out of 2018. Those cool stories surrounding Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the White House, and the Jeff Merkley feud. We'll take a look at that. And also GOP staffers who worked on this tax bill, and even the Hill staffers are cashing in big. And finally, Trump's ambassador to Germany is absolute trash. We can take a look at all those things today. And by the way, it's our 200th episode! Yeah. That's right. 200 episode. Big day for us today. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So let's do it. And 200th episode. Thank you again for sticking with us. And if you don't know, this is kind of like our hiatus point where we have our last big show before our hiatus. So we're going to make this one count. That's very important. Here we go. All right. So Democrats, they had a big night in the primaries. Democrats were on track to avoid getting locked out of the general election in a number of key House districts as the vote count from California's top two primary continued early Wednesday. And in case you don't know, California has a jungle primary. You've seen like 3 trillion news articles about this, because I know I have, where the top two only, regardless of party, will advance to the general election. So they have largely scrambled to avoid being shut out of 3 of California's southern districts, where large numbers of Democratic candidates could have split the party votes. So on a staged jungle primary system, that would have allowed 2 Republicans to advance to the November general election for seats Hillary Clinton carried in 2016. With the votes still being tallied early Wednesday, Democratic candidates were in second place in those 3 districts. In the closest results in the 48th district in Orange County, Republican Representative Dana Rohrabacher was in first place with 30% of the vote, but the race for second place was tight. Democrats Harley Rouda and Hans Kierstad were both at 17%, but Republican Scott Bowe was just behind at 16%. And the Associated Press has not yet projected whom Rohrabacher would face at the time of this article, but we can check on that for Dana. If you just give me a quick second here. So Dana Rohrabacher and right now Harvey Rouda, but only by a very small portion, a very small margin of a victory. So, And by the way, the 39th district, the Bleep Show 39th district, a Republican has actually won in that district, and they're going to be facing Gil Cisneros in the general election as of possibly. It looks like it, but they have not yet called it because the race is probably too close. Because Phil Liberator of the Republicans is 14 has 14% of the vote. Gil Cisneros has about 19.4. If you've been following that crazy race, where pretty much if you haven't followed it, here's what's been happening. It's been pretty much a bunch of people who have a bunch of money spending it all on this. Gil Cisneros is literally a lottery winner. So with the votes still being tallied early Wednesday, Democratic candidates were in second place in those 3 districts. The closest results were in 48th district. We're in the 48th district in Orange County. Republican Representative Dana Rohrabacher, again, as we know, Orange County, very tight situation. But the Democrats had more breathing room elsewhere. And we talked about Orange County. Republican Young Kim has qualified for the general election, and Democrat Gil Cisneros is a big cushion in second place in the 39th district. And in the race to replace retiring Representative Darrell Issa from the 49th District. 3 Democrats were a bunch behind Republican nominee Diane Harkey. So, I mean, at least they got some Democrats in there, and they can have a better opportunity to campaign. The key thing for the Democrats was at least getting some representatives of their ideology up in there just for the time being. Maybe it wasn't as many Democrats. Maybe it wasn't 2 Democrats in a Democratically held district as it should have been, but this was a Republican-held district, so it's not too bad. The drama is expected to last for days, if not weeks, as local elections officials tabulate mail ballots that could be postmarked as late as Tuesday. So, yeah, it's going to take a while before we get the full vote count in, and a lot of these races could be very close. So, there is that fun little wrinkle to behold. All right, so yeah, in the top-ticket race for governor, however, Republicans avoided a lockout of their own. Republican John Cox finished second and will face Democratic Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, a prohibitive favorite this fall. Cox's surge came after a GOP push to consolidate Republican votes behind the businessman and Twitter endorsements from President Donald Trump. That kind of raised everyone's awareness to him. So Republicans feel that a Democratic versus Democratic race versus Newsom and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villagrosa could depress GOP turnout in the fall, but Villagrosa faded to a distant third as Cox surged instantly, apparently having his name left off 119,000 ballots. So there is that. Anyway, we're going to have to take a quick break. Again, we'll be back very shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of stuff still to get to here today, so thank you so much for staying with us. It's Newsflash 200th episode. A little nasally today, so there is that to contend with. But anyway, we're going to turn our attention now to New York. In a Bronx activist and a longtime community organizer, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is challenging, I love saying that name, by the way, if you haven't been able to tell, is challenging longtime New York Democratic Representative Joe Crowley in his primary on June 2016. By all measures, the former Bernie Sanders organizer is an underdog, going off against the more powerful chair of the House Democratic Caucus, who has raised about $1.6 million in cash on hand. Ocasio-Cortez has raised about $200,000 in this campaign so far. No surprise, because, I mean, if you look at some of the campaign ads, you got Ocasio-Cortez. She is the person of the people here. She's fighting for the people. She's fighting for, as the Labor Party says, and I love this saying, by the way. It's something that, I mean, we should see more of in America. It's the Labour Party, if you don't know, progressive party in Britain, very progressive. Jeremy Corbyn's the leader there. And they have the saying is, for the many, not the few. And that's pretty much what the kind of campaign that Ocasio-Cortez is running. By the way, Newsflash, full endorsement over here from Newsflash. Newsflash, go out and vote for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez June 2016. But in a social media video, social media focused campaign video released on May 30th, Ocasio-Cortez sought to turn this money gap into a liability for Crowley, telling a story about how her life and the lives of thousands of others in the working class New Yorkers who continue to be squeezed by the cost of high healthcare, education, and housing. This race is about the people versus the money. We've got the people, they've got the money. So that's a pretty powerful situation. This just to point yourself as the campaign of the people. It is going to be very, very important for her to kind of win that narrative and get the people to know about her, which is one of the biggest obstacles, name recognition, that these relatively no-name progressive candidates can face. So here's a very short clip of this ad.
Women like me aren't supposed to run for office. I wasn't born to a wealthy or powerful family. Mother from Puerto Rico, dad from the South Bronx. I was born in a place where your zip code determines your destiny. My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm an educator, an organizer, a working-class New Yorker. I've worked with expectant mothers, I've waited tables and led classrooms. And going into politics wasn't in the plan. But after 20 years of the same representation, we have to ask, who has New York been changing for? Every day gets harder for working families like mine to get by.
So there you kind of get the taste. I really want to play more of it, but we are pressed for time here. It's really not hard to see why this ad is popping up. There's a video so tightly produced, crafting a narrative about an organizer candidate who is the same working class background that is representation of the majority of the New York's 14th congressional district, the median income of which is, by the way, $53,512, taking on a powerful incumbent backed by Wall Street dollars. So this is a big drama, big conflict going on in New York, and I fully support, by the way, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What you may be surprised to find out is the video was produced not by Hollywood video production veterans or high-dollar political consultants, but a pair of ragtag socialists based in Detroit. DSA socialist activist Naomi Burton and Nick Hayes formed Means of Production, a media production company that works exclusively for the working class. DSA has obviously since endorsed Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. DSA, if you don't know, Democratic Socialists of America. They are they're doing some pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff with this video, with this ad, and they're going to go into great things. June 26th, they get their primary, and I'm really excited to see what they have to offer. All right, so in a story that will make you feel very enraged, just prepare yourselves here, we have a little bit of a problem. Jeff Sessions is literally now blaming immigrants for getting their kids taken away from them. So yeah, and he, by the way, did confirm that actual infants are being locked up in HUD cages, literally in cages in the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is where they're being kept for 72 hours before they're being transported here. So yeah, it was an interview on Tuesday with conservative pundit Hugh Hewitt. Statistic elf Jeff Sessions emphasized there's no one to blame for his policy of tearing undocumented immigrants from their parents, again, including infants and toddlers here, but the parents themselves. If people don't want to be separated from their children, they should not bring them with them, Sessions told Hewitt. We got to get this message out. Sessions' revolting assertion that immigrants are to blame for their United States policy of separating families comes on the heels of Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley claiming that he and his staffers saw children in cages at a Customs and Border Detention facility in McAllen, Texas, before they were turned away by police from another privately run facility in Brownsville. For Sessions, keeping parents and children, and again, we're talking about actual babies here, little goo-goo gaga babies, apart is simply the government doing its job, and it's fully functional, and it's great, and it's just working really well. And then he goes on to say, in the span of 3 sentences, that the DHS does not keep kids locked up. That would be really inhumane. Besides, they're going to get deported anyway, so it's fine. And then, okay, the DHS does keep kids locked up, but only before passing them to the HHS. This is not like somebody getting 10 years in jail. So, phew, that's a relief. And then he goes on to say, in the same interview, I wish the system would allow for children and parents to be kept together. I wish we could afford to do that. If you wish it, then why did you just change the law literally like last week? Like, you just changed the law last week to separate kids, and now you're coming on here in this radio interview, and you're saying, no joke, that you wish kids could be kept with their families. This is beyond the human comprehension. I'm like that meme who's like, I'm turning to a ball of light and disintegrating away. Like, that's pretty much where I am at right now. This is the issue in which Sam B was motivated to call Ivanka a feckless C word for. And, let's be honest. In good-hearted people, this issue kind of brings out the worst in good-hearted people. And oh my God, I'm not going to swear, Or at least I'll try not to swear, but this is just so ridiculous. It's so aggravating that we live in this kind of, like, Orwellian country that is so sadistic and inhumane to some of the most disadvantaged people who want to come into this country because they think it's good.